Welcome back to me jamming games. I'm playing, I don't know if I play Pioneer the most because it's my favorite format, or if I just like the decks that are in it or what. But I got a new deck today here in Pioneer. This is Mizzet Bring to Light, which means if anything is exactly 2 colors, you can play it. Luckily for us, there's a bunch of new invasions, battles, that are exactly 2 colors that affect the board or give you treasures or make you discard cards. And so Mizzet's probably the perfect home for them. It's just the grindiest pile in the world. Let's see how it goes. Yorion Companion, and I'm guessing an incredibly awkward hand. So these hands, I have lands with different names that make up most of the basic land types. I don't have a blue source. That could be a problem for me. But I have reactive spells, and if the game goes long enough, I'm almost guaranteed to win. I'm going to try this out. With this deck, you can just keep bizarre and irrational things. If I played Indatha on turn 1, I would have had turn 2 Leyline Binding up by playing my Mountain. But you can just make errors for free. No one can stop you. My third CEDH Triome, that's going to be nice to cycle at some point. Is this red-green cars? This guy's not doing anything. Well, let's start by invading. I'm going to ditch this Dragon Skull Summit because it doesn't give me additional card types, or additional basic types, I should say. Sulphur Falls gives me blue, but it doesn't give me an island. Still good enough. I'm going to play a Triome. Am I? I'm going to play a Sulphur Falls just in case I need to have mana up for this Leyline Binding. Bone Crusher, I don't really care about that. Not a big deal, pal. Okay, so I get to bring to light here. You usually get Niv Mizzet just to refill your hand, but my hand's already kind of full, and I don't want to discard. So let's see if there's something better I can get. I think I still just have to, so this deck has a Valky God of Lies, which is just outstanding, but I think he'd have a pretty easy time killing it if it's a 2 loyalty, and I don't want to mess with that, so I'm just going to get a Niv Mizzet, plan on the game going long. Also, you brick sometimes. I drew a Slaughter Games and a Vanishing Verse, for example. That's enough to get a concession out of my opponent. I wonder if he's choked on colored mana. Alright, so I think he's probably playing Gruul Cars. I don't think any of these things are good against him. I think, so the nice thing about Niv Mizzet is you're basically pre-sideboarded for every fair deck. You are the fairest, grindiest pile in all of existence, and so you might as well just lean in. Sometimes these decks run a Yorion in the main, and I actually don't mind that too much. This is a good example of an unkeepable hand. This hand's kind of crap. I'm not really going to do anything for a few turns. But I am on the draw. I'm going to keep it because I don't want to keep just going down into oblivion. I'm going to put one of these Leyline Bindings on the bottom. I'm probably going to discard one of these Leyline Bindings too. Slightly faster. So I'm going to have a really, really slow start. Fable Passage can get a green source for me, which means I have access to Abrupt Decay, Invasion, this Invasion. Fudge! So now I have a weird choice. Do I want to get something that's going to let me cast my 2 black Invasions? Or my Abrupt Decay and something else? Gosh. Still sneaks. I'm going to let my opponent take his whole turn before I decide. So these sacrifice outlets are going to be much worse with the Chariot in play. So that means that I probably should lean towards an invasion of Asgul. And I'm going to get a forest here. So I can cast, no, excuse me, my green one that gives me a treasure is going to be better. If I could draw a basic land type, that'd be cool. Still not the right one. So now it's just Leyline Binding. Leyline Binding costs 2. I think I'm just going to take a huge hit off of this right now to try and get my hand to come together. If I can cast all my spells, I think I can win the game. So I'm just going to start doing this. That card's probably not the right one. Slaughter Games is the right draw. Game's over, I win. I'm just kidding, by the way. I'm in a lot of trouble. Well, gosh. The nice thing about this deck is at any given point, I can just bring to light for Deadly Vanity and win the game. All right. Sylvan Chariot is a decent draw. Let's pop that in. And I have Leyline Binding up to grab 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I can probably survive another turn. I have to get a little bit lucky and draw something that affects the board, but I'm close. Well, if he sends all of his Mutavaults in, I'm probably dead. So let's get to combat. I'm going to have to sack my treasure here. I'm going to eat that thing. He could have activated his Mutavaults there. I think that he may have something worse in store for me if he didn't do that. I need to draw a blue source. So this is my out, was to bring to light for this card. By drawing it, it is no longer an option that I can use to win the game. I think I'm dead after that. So in general, if you make your land drops, you win. If you don't make your land drops, you lose. I'm not sideboarding anything. This hand has all my lands in it. I'm also on the play, which is nice. Also, I've had very few blue sources these last few games. There's no combination of the lands in my hand that lets me cast Vanishing Verse on 2. CEDH Triome on 1 has both black and white. I'm going to play this one on 1. Indatha, because it has black and white, so if I draw either a black or a white source, I can cast Vanishing Verse on 2. Extinction Event's also very good against this opponent, I believe. It's not as good as he is against mono green, but it still cleans up a lot of stuff. My opponent may just be going no land pass. This can't be right. I have surely misunderstood this. Yay, Omnath. All right. I have multiple Triomes in my hand, which means if I can just get to the point of the game where I can cast my spells, I'm probably going to win. No. Okay, I can be greedy and try to extinction event both of these creatures, or I can Vanishing Verse one to save my life total. I think I'm going to wait and see what he does, because it might just be that I can afford to take this hit for however much. Essica's Chariot. So there's a way to blow him out on this. I don't know what it is. So if he activates the Chariot with his dudes, gives it Trample and Haste, and I exile it, that's pretty cool. Then he attacks me for 3 down to 14. Then on my turn, I extinction event his 2 creatures, and then he attacks me for 4 on his next turn down to 9, and on my turn to play Omnath and gain some life. I think I can afford for that to happen. He is targeting the Chariot. Cool. So this lines up okay. I'm trying to do the math on if I want to cast something else, but I think it's just much better to cast this extinction event here, because I can leave up, I can do a lot of stuff. Oh, fudge. I picked the wrong number. Might be dead. He's got 4 cards in his hand and he's cast nothing. He has to have a removal spell of some sort. I think Omnath gain 4 life most likely keeps me alive, and then I can go Elesh Norn on my next turn. I need a blue source more than anything. No, I don't. I got everything. That's fine. I'm going to gain 4 life. Gosh, what a mess. Okay, so I'm probably dead. Probably dead. If I draw an untapped land of any sort, I can Elesh Norn to exile 2 of his things, get back my Omnath, and snap off some blocks. Well, I think I might have to just use these things for their reduced values here. Is Omnath, does this cost 1? It costs white. So let's start by Leyline Binding to get back my Omnath. Let's play this land. I think I'm going to pick up my Yorion. So if I make him sack a dude, he sacks his little dork, and I don't care. I'm going to pick up my Yorion and leave up the last Leyline Binding. Because I am going to have to teak this. Maybe I'm not playing around something that I should be playing around. All right, so I have to, before Thrun gets indestructible, gets haste, Leyline Bind this Storm Chasing Slasher, whatever the heck it's called. All right, so I'm going to go for the high upside play here. I'm going to shock that in, then gain 4. Let's go make my opponent sack a man. All of this would have been very cool to do with Elesh Norn in play, but I don't think I can live long enough to do it, is the problem. So I'm not going to give him back any of his creatures even momentarily, because I don't want to die to them. He's going to put me down to 6. I'm sure he has things that kill me in his deck. I just hope he doesn't draw them. I also got lucky he had no man lands to dilute my invasion of Asgul. Also, weirdly enough, this is a side note of Magic Online. When you Yorion your invasions, they come back under your control. Oh, I win. Yeah, that's the way it is with this deck. Your opponents never get to 0. They kind of just realize that you have an overwhelming board position and concede. This opening 7 has a number of different lands, and my favorite card, Kiora, easy keep. Hopefully I don't run into too many fast decks, because I always keep these very speculative hands. So I don't have blue mana. There might be something wrong with this deck's mana base, because it doesn't have enough blue in it, I don't think. Bro, Thoughtseize me. See if I got nothing but lands, bud. Not gonna phase me. If this is red-black, I'd be interested to see how it goes, because when I played this deck a lot, red-black wasn't really in the format, and I think red-black might be a pretty bad matchup, just because they're really good at grinding on cards too. But I could be wrong. I'm sorry, you're playing these too? Did he reveal dragons? He didn't. He just did 2 damage to me. This is actually a very reasonable card in this deck. That's very cool. Good for him. Let's just slam a Kiora here. So I get nothing but white, green, and black mana. There's no benefit from playing any of these lands. I'm just going to play someplace. They both have white and black. Those lands are about the same. So Kiora ramps your mana and draws you cards when you start playing your haymakers, which is exactly what you want a card to do. Is this guy playing dragons? What is he doing? This is red-black dragons. I have no idea what's going on here. Now, I would super duper like it if I had spells or abilities to activate or cast. I don't think I'm going to get to, so I'm just going to pick up my Yorion. So this is one of the weird downsides of keeping a 10-land hand, is that you have 10 lands in your hand. I'm going to use this to get a blue source and then pass. Taking my Yorion, Shurion. That's inside joke. A little inside magic. Good God. Okay. I could have saved that if I drew an Omnath, but I had to get blue just to cast the Omnath, so I don't think that's good enough. Sylvan Carrier did perfect draw. Game's too easy. Let's try and draw a spell. Really would like to not die. Abrupt Decay is fine. So that means I can lead my opponent down the Primrose path into attacking this invasion and then killing it when he sends his creatures at it to save myself some life total. I could play a Carried, I just don't need the mana. Well, my opponent has forced my hand, so I can, would I rather him have a 3/3 Menaced, or I think I'm going to kill this so that he, oops, wrong color. If I kill the Raz, he has to attack the Glorybringer into the invasion, which means I can clean it up in a number of ways. If I kill the invasion, he just attacks me for 7, and that means the clock is starting fast, and I kind of want to preserve my life total. He gets to take one of my mana sources. Please don't cast the dragon. Be cool. Be cool, dude. Be cool. So this is the typical Mizzet position. I'm in a bind, because I'm way behind, and I'm willing to make a deal. But as long as, that's fine, I can beat that. As long as I just draw a Bring to Light, everything's cool. Kolaghan's Command is exactly what I was looking for. Just kidding, that's a lie. I'm going to die. 4, 8, 12, 2, 4, 6. I'm taking 18, so I am just dead on board. Yep, that's it for me. Dude, Rakdos Dragons. Who knew? So I don't like too many of these cards against Rakdos Dragons. I like none of these cards. I'm pre-boarded, ready to go for fair decks. Opponent brought a fair deck. I just didn't do anything. So I'm going to do something this time around. He probably has sideboard cards. I have no idea what they'd be. I can beat him. I'm going to try this hand. It's slow, but I have a mana ramp and a bunch of removal. My opponent plays a lot of high-value threats. Thoughtseize me, dude. C. Oh, no. He's a coward. That's lucky for me, because if you take this Caryatid, my entire hand gets much, much slower. If I can cast this Invasion, Abrupt Decay, Vanishing Verse on curve, I think I'm probably going to be okay. So I unfortunately have 2 sources that make only black, which means I can't cast this Omnath right here. It would be really cool if I could. I'm going to play a Triome and just leave up a removal spell. I'm sure he's going to cast something, just like that. And yeah, gosh, I'm not actually going to Abrupt Decay it. I'm just going to go to my turn and Invasion of Azgal here. I don't know what plane Azgal is, but it's dirty. Everyone there is gross. And I picked up the Triome for my troubles. Yeah, let's invade here. And I don't know if you guys are keeping score at home. I do not have a blue source. Something is wrong with this deck. I need more blue sources in it. Or I just maybe have a very small sample size and a very large deck with a lot of different lands. Who can be sure? I'm just going to go ahead and Vanishing Verse that now. I don't really want to wait. I think this deck could probably pretty reasonably play, what's it called, Fable, just because it's the best card in every format, you know? All right, so let's use my blue mana here. I don't need that black, thanks though. Green, Omnath. Bring to Light's a great draw. I'm going to shock this in so I can leave up an Abrupt Decay for whatever silliness my opponent convinces himself to get up to on his turn. If he just goes to combat, I might decay this token, because he might need the, what is this? What is this? This guy. Wow, that's cool. Goldspan's a really cool card in this deck. So he's making 4 extra mana here. That's pretty cool. Do I decay a treasure? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'll have 7 mana on my turn, which means I can't pick up Yorion and recast it. I'm going to let him cast whatever 4-drop he has. I don't really care. It gives me more things to Deadly Vanity if I go get that. I'm sorry, what is this? So I'm going to Bring to Light here for the full value. And I'm going to get, it might be greedy. I'm going to get this Deadly Vanity right now. I think things can get worse for me, but I also think this is a good enough time to use it. I guess I no longer have a blue source, huh? That might be a problem. But I do get to show you guys this cool, look at this, it's an battle. It's a battle hyphen siege, and it makes me wonder if there's like a non-siege hyphen something else. So I'm going to leave up this Abrupt Decay, which my opponent has now gone over the top of decidedly, but it makes me feel like I'm doing something safe. Gosh, this guy's a real jerk. Goldspan's neat. I guess I'm just going to play the cards in my hand. Elesh Norn, I'm going to dare to dream that this goes okay. Because Elesh Norn means that, oh, I get mana too. I wish I had something to do with all this mana. Maybe I'll pick up my thing this turn. This is neat. Look, watch. Ha! Two resolutions here. Oh, I didn't mean to always yield. So now I have 4 mana. Let's pick up this Yorion. Why don't I? And I have the option to Abrupt Decay his treasure. I just don't think that matters at all. And these guys can't block. Might as well attack. It also turns off a lot of weird stuff. Like his sagas don't come in with a counter. His battles don't trigger when they come into play. Elesh Norn's pretty tight. Okay, so here comes Kolaghan. So I'm going to take a hit here, but I don't think it's going to kill me. 12, go down to 8. So the opponent has 6 mana. Post-combat Glorybringer. Oh, I guess he needed the mana. That's fair. I'd really like to Yorion and Slaughter Games here, but I don't have the mana to. If he blocks my Omnath with his Glorybringer, that makes me draw fewer cards, but I think I'm still safe to attack here, because I do have enough stuff in my hand to kind of take care of this. So let's put him down to, I think he's just going to go to 4 here. Okay, so that means I get to draw 2 fewer cards. I guess that was a bad play, because my Ashen Reaper would have cleaned up both his creatures if I would have just sent just that in. So I'm gonna Slaughter Games his. Do I die if I do this? No, I don't think so. Well, I'm dead to another dragon. What's Kolaghan's? So Kolaghan is this 4/5, which means my Yorion cannot block it profitably. I think that I'm going to be kind of priced into Slaughter Gamesing the Kolaghan out of his hands, and then hoping he doesn't draw a Hasty Dragon. I guess he has a lot of Hasty Dragons in this deck. Well, let's hope I dodge that. So he's hopefully, I believe, 1 mana short of rebuying his Hasty Dragons. Alright, so that does not have haste, I do not die. So I'm safe to let him get this treasure because he has no cards in hand, nothing else to do. I'm going to decay his Rivaz. Maybe I can save it because I don't actually have to decay it. So I can, if I attack with both of my creatures, I guess he can trade something off. That's not good. Me giving away my Omnath for free was a pretty big mistake a few turns ago. So this triggering twice doesn't really do anything for me. I only have the one thing to return. That stinks. I guess I had lethal there if I just play Leyline Binding and attack, huh? He's got 1 card, I've got a Leyline Binding. I think there's nothing he can do that makes me lose. Rivaz is, yeah, fine. I still don't have a blue source. I don't have a blue source. That is amazing to me that this game has gone this long and I haven't drawn a blue source. All right. Once more. I have no. I could bring in his Rest in Pieces for his Rivaz buybacks, but I just don't think it does enough. Once I was playing this deck in a last chance qualifier for a pro tour in 2020, and Joe Lossett, basically the best Miracle players ever in Legacy, was watching over my shoulder, and I made a few huge errors right in front of him. And so he doesn't know who I am, but he probably doesn't respect me anymore. If you did know, you know. So I think about that a lot. This hand needs to draw lands, but I have my Zagoth into Woodland to get me my Sylvan out on curve. Yeah, let's do that. And so Savai is actually a very good draw. I have all 5 colors on turn 2. I probably should have played the Savai first, so if he Thoughtseize is Macarited, I can still Leyline Bind him. Not a problem. Didn't matter. He revealed a dragon. That card's really good in this deck. I thought that maybe just standard issue Rakdos would play this card because it's a stomp. I guess it's basically a stomp where you have to work for the back half to get your Bone Crusher off. Maybe the synergy is better here. What the hell? What is this guy doing? All right. Gosh, that's cool. That's a very good card. I don't think he's ever going to flip it, but he can unearth it to draw 3 cards and discard his hand. That's pretty neat. All right, let's check this Leyline Binding. It costs 1. In real life, you have to count your mana yourself, which is a sucker's bet. I'm not doing that mess. But in online, I get to check here what my Leyline Binding costs. That's Sushi-san. I can clean that up with a crispy Vanishing Verse on my turn. Yeah, I don't want to deal with this anymore. Well, let's Leyline Bind. You're that guy. I think I want to play it safe and just hide behind all my removal spells. Summon an Invasion of X. What is this place called? Ergamon? Never been there. Don't think it's real. I'm going to discard one of these Omnaths and pick up this card, which is pretty cool. It'll give him a good turn next turn. I think I'm just going to Vanishing Verse his dude when he attacks. And then on my turn, I can Invasion to make him sack whatever he has. He has a Mutavault, though, that I have to be cognizant of, which can cause me trouble. Opponent content to just attack first. Is he attacking? He's attacking. I'm going to let it go to 1. Don't give a heck. Dragon Tempest is pretty good. He's leaving up something to sacrifice to my Invasion. So I think I'm gonna Vanishing Verse this here. What do you have? Okay. I guess he just did it for the mana discount. That makes sense. That checks out. I should just cast the Omnath in my hand, but I really want to Bring to Light because that's cool. Yeah, I'm going to Bring to Light for Elish Norn. I'm going to Bring to Light to look in my library, and then we'll see what I do. Opponent's got 1 card in hand. I don't know what it could be. I don't know how bad it could be. I could just Niv Mizzet here. That's a pretty solid line because it sets me up for... I'm going to Niv Mizzet. Niv Mizzet's a flyer. He's also a dragon. Checks out. So I'm going to take another Bring to Light and a Vanishing Verse and a bunch of... Oh, yeah, this is good. All right, look at all this. Look how smart I am. Very clever young man, Steven. I'm going to play this one because I'm kind of short. I only have 1, 2, 3, 4 lands. How unlucky. How unfortunate to be me. But I got a big old blocker. I should be good for another turn. Haven and Spirit Dragon's weirdly okay in this deck. Glorbringer's a pretty good card here. What do you do? Oh, he's going to get to run some stuff off here. Yeah, he's going to slap me. Cool. Now, this would be a huge problem if I just couldn't clean every single one of these things up immediately. Now, I can leave Vanishing Verse up for whatever silliness he has. Yeah, I think I'm good. I should just pass. Vanishing Verse is Sarkin. Vanishing Verse is just a hell of a card. Answering any single color permanent is just great. So one of the problems of this deck is that you can cast any spell almost all the time. And so your options get huge immediately, and I generally make weird decisions. 1, 2. So I can Omnath here and still Bring to Light afterwards, which I think is pretty cool. If I did it in the other direction, I could have gotten an Elish Norn first and Omnath twice. Just see, that's probably better, but I think I'm just going to Bring to Light again, and I'm going to get another Niv Mizzet to just refill my hand. I got exactly 1 Bring to Light off of that. How terribly lucky. Sometimes you just flip absolutely nothing in this 80-card deck. So it looks like he's trying to get an extra point of damage off of this Atsushi. This Dragon Tempest can kill me. I have to be a little cognizant of that. I think I'm just going to go to 8 here. I have a way to gain a bunch of life, so I don't think I really care if my life total goes down. And I don't want him having extra crap. That's it. So he conceded. I have no idea what I was going to do from this point. I had another Bring to Light. I could have gone for any amount of mess. I don't know. This deck is tough.